What's up, world, and welcome back to the Real News Network. I'm Jared Ball here in Baltimore. So much continues to be said about the Rachel Dolezal controversy, but little about the actual material impact of blackness on people so classified. To discuss some of that is Algernon Austin, who joins us now from Washington, D.C. Austin is a race and economics consultant and author of the forthcoming book, America is Not Post-Racial: Xenophobia, Islamophobia, Racism, and the 44th President. Welcome back to the show, or welcome to the Real News Network here, Algernon Austin. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
You also have a forthcoming piece, an op-ed to be published in the not-too-distant future that you titled, Yes, You Can Be Black, and It Won't Cost You Much at All. Could you talk a little bit about what it is that you're saying in this and about the material cost of blackness in the United States?
Yes. So the piece is satirical because what I point out is that it actually costs you a lot to be African American in the United States. And like you say, this piece is in response to the discussions around Rachel Dolezal. Much of that discussion, I felt, did not address the material circumstances of being African American. About half of whites think that African Americans experience absolutely no discrimination in American society. So I think for that population and for others, being African American becomes reduced to a fashion statement. You know, it's how you wear your hair, maybe what slang you use, and that's the beginning and the end of what it means to be African American. So I'm trying to, in the piece, I'm trying to make people realize that there are significant material circumstances. For example, you know, I talk about that I'm willing, or this man in a mythical corporation called the Onyx Corporation is willing to give you a blackness card, or willing to give white Americans a blackness card that will grant them honorary black status and a certified black experience. And I say that this blackness card, the application fee, is about $130,000. Now, where do I get $130,000? That's the difference in the median wealth for white households and black households. White households, on average, have over $100,000 more wealth than the average black household. So I say, if you want a certified black experience, you need to give up $130,000, and then you get to live in terms of wealth more like a typical black person. And then I say the annual fee is about $11,000, and that's the difference in personal income for a typical white person and a typical black person. So, you know, if you're white and you want to be black, most likely, not only do you have too much wealth, you have too much income. So you need to give up some of that income. I also say, well, you know, you also need to enter the unemployment lottery, because at every educational level, African Americans are about twice as likely as their white peers to be unemployed. So some of these applicants need to have the wonderful experience of being unemployed, of trying to find a job, but not being able to because of their race.
You also say that there's going to be a necessity to plan for an earlier departure from this life than may have been, you know, previously expected under whiteness. Could you say a word or two about that as well?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're born in 1970, and I picked 1970 because that's about the median age for white Americans today, your life expectancy at birth is almost 8 years longer than an African American born in 1970. So to give you a certified black experience, you know, this mythical corporation needs to kill you 8 years sooner than would be expected. So all of these things, and there are other things that I discussed, point out that blackness is not merely a fashion statement in American society. There are significant economic disadvantages. There are disadvantages in health. There are disadvantages in terms of your experience with the criminal justice system, in education, you name it. There are significant disadvantages in American society. So the piece is trying to illustrate these facts.
In fact, you do specifically point out something about stop and frisk in New York and the preparation for a new experience with the police in this country. Given the time that we're in, if you could quickly just say one word or two about that. Given the time that we're in.
Exactly. Like I said, you need to present the blackness card to the police to make sure that they don't deprive you of being stopped and frisked, or they don't deprive you of police brutality. If you've ever used marijuana, I put you in an arrest me lottery, because although whites and blacks use marijuana at equivalent rates, blacks are almost 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possessions than whites. So all of these things, these are just some of the criminal justice benefits, quote unquote, that you get from being African American.
Well, Algernon Austin, we thank you very much for joining us in this segment of the Real News Network, and we look forward to having you back to talk more about your forthcoming book, which is, again, America is Not Post-Racial: Xenophobia, Islamophobia, Racism in the 44th President. Algernon Austin, thank you again for joining us.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us here at the Real News Network. And for all involved, I'm Jared Ball here in Baltimore. Again, peace. If you're willing to fight for it, everybody. Catch you in the whirlwind.